Good day, everyone. Before we begin, I want everyone to listen carefully and give your full attention because we're about to introduce one of the most hardworking yet underrated system in our body. But first, let me start by asking you a question. Have you ever wondered what happens to the extra fluid in our body? Or paano kaya tayo napoprotektahan laban sa mga bakterya at viruses nang hindi natin namamalayan? Well, guess what? Meron tayong secret hero system na laging nagtatrabaho behind our body. And that's the lymphatic system. So, I am Mika Jar Makalindong and we are the Group 4 and we are about to discuss the lymphatic system. So, class, please open your eyes, your ears, and your minds upang malaman ang sagot sa inyong mga katanungan. Proceed na tayo sa kung ano nga ba ang lymphatic system. Ang lymphatic system ay isang network of tissue and organs that help rid the body of toxins, waste, and other unwanted materials. In short, ito yung system na tumutulong sa ating immune system para labanan ang mga sakit at infection dahil inaalis nito yung mga toxic, yung mga basura inside our body. So, yung lymphatic system, mayroon siyang 3 main functions. Ang una ay fluid balance in tissue. Ibig sabihin, tinutulungan nitong ibalik ang extra fluid mula sa tissue papunta sa bloodstream para maiwasan yung pamamaga or swelling. Second is lipid absorption from small intestines. Ito yung process kung saan inaabsorb ng lymphatic vessels ang fats mula sa kinain nating pagkain. At yung pangatlo, defense against pathogens. Dito naman pumapasok yung immune function ng lymphatic system kasi tinutulungan nitong protektahan ang katawan laban sa bacteria, viruses, at iba pang harmful organisms. So, dito sa next slides, pinapakita dito kung ano ba yung lymphatic systems. So, it carries fluids from tissues to the circulatory system. Pero take note, hindi ito katulad ng blood circulation dahil sa lymphatic system, hindi nagsisirculate or dito. Kasi dahil sa lymphatic system does not circulate to or from tissues, one way lang ang flow ng lymph. And the main parts includes yung lymph, lymphocytes, lymphatic vessels, lymph nodes, tonsils, spleen, and thymus. Lahat ng yan ay nagtutulungan upang mapanatiling healthy ang ating katawan. At lahat yan ay maipapaliwanag mamaya ng iba pang mga presenters. So, now, proceed naman tayo sa kung ano nga ba ang lymph. Fluid that flows within lymphatic system. Ibig sabihin, ang lymph daw ay isang fluid na dumadaloy sa lymphatic system based dito sa nasa PPT and occurs when some fluid that moves from blood capillaries into tissue spaces. Most of fluid returns to blood, moves from tissue spaces into lymphatic capillaries. So, nagpo-form daw siya when some of the fluid na galing sa blood capillaries ay pumapasok sa tissue spaces at imbis na bumalik lahat sa blood, may part dito na pumapasok naman sa lymphatic capillaries at yun ang nagiging lymph. Basically, parang clean up crew siya dahil kinokolekta niya ang excess fluid at dumi mula sa tissue para ibalik sa bloodstream. Kaya mahalaga ito para maiwasan ng edema or labis na pamamaga.
Hi everyone, I'm Jana Erica S. Aluarte and I will discuss about lymphatic capillaries. Lymphatic capillaries are tiny closed-ended vessels that are more permeable than blood capillaries, allowing fluid to enter easily. So, make sure to take note of this, that lymphatic capillaries are the tiny thin-walled vessels. So, ito yung starting point ng lymphatic system natin. Their walls have overlapping squamous cells that form one-way valves, preventing backflow of fluid. They are more open than blood capillaries, so fluid can enter them easily. Kasi ano nga ba yung function ng lymphatic capillaries? Bakit kailangan mag-enter yung fluid easily? Lymphatic capillaries, ito yung nagko-collect ng lymph fluids from the tissue. So, dito dumadaan yung lymph fluid galing sa tissue papunta sa circulatory system. It only goes in one direction, from tissues to the circulatory system. Closed-ended vessels lang din to sila. If we look closely into the picture, makikita natin dito yung venule. Ito yung nagko-collect ng oxygen-poor blood from capillaries and carry it toward veins, returning it to the heart. Next is the arteriole, are small branches of arteries that carry oxygen-rich blood away from the heart and toward the capillaries. Now is the lymphatic capillary. Ito yung color green. Ito yung open siya sa one side, then pasarado na siya sa mga susunod na mga branch. Ibig sabihin, hindi siya nagpo-form ng continuous circuit katulad ng blood vessels. And then, these capillaries help remove extra fluid from tissues, especially in the skin and muscle, to keep our body balanced. They are not found in areas like the brain, bone marrow, or cartilage. Now, let's move forward and talk about the lymphatic vessels. Lymphatic vessels, ito yung na-form pag nagsama-sama or nag-join together yung lymphatic capillaries. So, lymphatic vessels, nire-resemble niya yung mga small veins na may beaded appearance. One-way valves, isang direction lang yung daanan ng lymph fluid at hindi na siya pwedeng mag-flow backwards pag nakadaan na. If we look dito sa my picture, pag zoom natin siya, makikita dyan yung closed and open na valve. Okay. Yung closed valve, ayan yung nagpe-prevent ng backflow. Then open valves, it allows lymph fluid to flow forward. These valves ensures one-way movement of lymph fluid. So lymph fluid is promoted by muscle movement when we move or exercise kasi nagko-contract siya. Smooth muscle contractions in the vessel walls, and breathing, which changes pressure in the chest. This helps the lymph travel through the body smoothly. Next slide. The lymph from all these vessels eventually end into the blood by two main ducts. First is the right lymphatic duct. There. Ayan yung nasa upper and right area. And then this is the lymphatic vessels from the right upper limb and right head, neck, and chest would empty. Dito dadaan yung lymph fluid galing sa right upper limb. Ito nga yung right arm and right side of our head, neck, and chest. Ito yung nakashade ng purple dito sa my picture. It is short and empties right into the subclavian vein. Yung subclavian vein, ito yung large blood vessel na makikita under the right collarbone. It empties the lymph, returning clean fluid from the body back into the bloodstream. Next is the left part. We called it the thoracic duct. Ito naman yung nakashade ng yellow. So parang most area ng body is part ng thoracic duct. Thoracic duct collects lymph from the rest of the body and empties into the left subclavian vein found under the left collarbone. In short, these ducts return the cleaned and filtered lymph back into the bloodstream, completing the cycle.
Lymphatic tissue is the housing for many lymphocytes and other defense cells like macrophages. It has very fine reticular fibers that traps microorganisms and other items in the fluid. Lymphatic tissue is the headquarters for our body's tiny soldiers like white blood cells. Their job is to protect our body from germs and keep it healthy. Lymphocytes are tiny white blood cells that act like a soldier in our body, while macrophages are big white blood cells that act like a cleaner. So for example, nagkakasugat po tayo or nahiwa, germs slip in through the wound and our lymphatic tissue will immediately send immune cells to eat and destroy the germs. The swelling and redness na nakikita natin is a sign that our immune system is working. Kapag tayo ay may illness like HIV or cancer, poor diet, stress or no sleep, infection or surgery, our lymphatic tissue is weak and our body can fight germs well. Our tonsils form a protective ring of lymphatic tissue around the opening between nasal and oral cavities. It protects us against pathogens entering from our nose and mouth. So yung tonsil po natin is like guards standing at the entrance of our mouth and nose. Their job is to catch and fight germs before they go deeper to our body. 3 groups of tonsils. First one is the palatine tonsils. It is paired located on each side of posterior opening of oral cavity. Kapag po tayo nagkaka-sore throat, that's because our tonsils were trying to fight off some germs that sneaked in. And kapag chronically infected na po yung tonsils natin, it must be surgically removed through tonsillectomy. Pharyngeal tonsil. It is located near the internal opening of nasal cavity. Yung function po nito is to catch germs na nai-inhale natin kapag tayo ay nahinga. And kapag enlarged po siya, it can interfere with our normal breathing. It can be surgically removed through adenoidectomy. And lastly, lingual tonsil. It is located on the posterior surface of our tongue. It is less often to get infected and more difficult to remove. Yung function po nito is to protect our throat for getting infected.
Hi everyone, my name is Jusain C. Prepose. Now I will explain what is lymph nodes and capsule. But first is lymph nodes or in Tagalog, kulane. Ang lymph nodes ay mga maliit or bean-shaped structure na makikita along the lymphatic vessels. Main function po nito ay i-filter ang lymph fluid at i-trap ang bacteria, viruses at ibang harmful substances. Ito po yung tumutulong sa immune system na para maprotektahan tayo laban sa sakit. And meron po itong 3 superficial lymph nodes. First, ang inguinal nodes na matatagpuan sa groin o singit. Ang function po nito ay to filter lymph coming from lower limbs at lower abdomen. Tumutulong din po ito to fight infection sa legs and thigh. Second, ang axillary nodes na nasa armpit o kilikili. Ito naman po ang nagde-drain ng lymph mula sa upper limbs, chest at breast. Also detecting and fighting infection in the arms and upper chest. Nakakatulong po ito sa pag-monitor ng breast cancer kasi dito po unang kumakalat ang cancer cells. At lastly, ang cervical nodes na nasa leeg. Ito naman po ang nagde-drain ng lymph mula sa ulo at leg natin. Ito naman po yung tumutulong laban sa infection sa upper respiratory tract gaya po ng sipon at tonsillitis. Kaya minsan, kapag may sakit po tayo, gaya nga po ng sipon o sore throat, napapansin po natin na namamaga ang kulane sa leeg. Ang ibig sabihin lang po nun is active ang immune system po natin. And next, the capsule. Ang capsule po ay, ito po yung outer covering ng lymph nodes. Ito po yung protective shell na nagbibigay protection sa buong lymph node para po mapanatili ang structure ng lymph nodes and to protect from the damage. Meron po itong extension o trabeculae na pumapasok sa loob at hinahati ang lymph node sa iba't ibang parts. Ito po yung lymphatic nodules at lymphatic sinuses. So, lymphatic nodules, ito po ang groups of lymphocytes and other cells. Dito po makikita ang germinal centers kung saan bumibilis ang pagdami ng mga lymphocytes. Ito rin po yung tinatawag na defense station dahil lagi itong nakahanda para labanan ang infection. And next is lymphatic sinuses. Ito naman po yung open spaces o channels between tissues. Puno ito ng microphages, mga special immune cells na nagpi-filter, nagtatrap, at sumisira sa germs or mikrobyo. Ang main function naman po is dito nagsisimula ang immune response kapag may nakakapasok na bacteria o viruses. Second, para manlinis po ang lymph bago makapasok sa dugo. Yung capsule po ay hindi lang nagpro-protect kundi tumutulong din ito to organize its part and supports the body defense system by trapping and destroying harmful germs.
Good day, I am Rosemariel C. Tejada from BSN 11, and today I will be discussing about the spleen and the thymus. But now, let's start with the spleen. Our spleen is located at the left upper side of our abdomen. So, ang main function niya is to filter the blood. So, para siyang tagalinis na ating dugo by removing the old or damages red blood cells. And it also stores white blood cells. So, kapag mayroong infection or germs sa ating katawan, yung spleen is tumutulong siya na labanan ito by releasing the white blood cells. In short, yung spleen natin is nag-work siya as a blood filter or defender ng ating katawan. Meron din tayong tinatawag na white pulp and red pulp. So, for the white pulp, ito yung immune part ng spleen. Tinatawag siyang white kasi maputi ang itsura niya under the microscope. Dito makikita ang mga lymphocytes, white blood cells na lumalaban sa mga infection. Tumutulong ito na mag-detect at pumatay ng mga bacteria, viruses, at iba pang harmful na organism sa dugo. While ang red pulp naman ay yung filtering part ng spleen, kulay pula siya kasi puno ito ng red blood cells. And ang main function niya ay tinatanggal or sinisira niya yung mga luma or damaged na red blood cells. And recall lang tayo, when we say white pulp, ito yung immune part na spleen. And when we say red pulp, ito naman yung filtering part na spleen. Again, white pulp is the immune part, while the red pulp is the filtering part. So now, let's move forward to thymus. The thymus is located behind the sternum or breastbone. Sa gitnang part siya na ating chest. Ang role ng thymus is responsible for maturing T cells, which are a type of white blood cell that help our immune system to fight infection. Mas active ang thymus habang bata pa tayo, pero habang tumatanda, lumiliit na siya and become less active. Ito ay tinatawag nating thymic involution. But, kahit maliit lang siya, the thymus is super important pa rin kasi it trains our immunity cells before they go fight the infections. So, bakit nga ba habang tumatanda tayo, humihina na yung thymus? Ito ay dahil napapalitan na siya ng taba. Hindi na siya masyado active kasi marami na tayong mature T cells na nagawa noong bata pa tayo. So, magbibigay ako ng isang example ng sa thymus process. So, kapag may sugat sa ating balat or wound infection, napapasukan siya ng bacteria. So, yung thymus natin ay naglalabas ng white blood cells para labanan yung bacteria, while si spleen naman ay tumutulong para mag-filter ng dugo. So, i-differentiate natin si spleen and thymus. When we say spleen, ito yung nag-filter ng blood and help destroy the germs. And kapag sinabi naman natin si thymus, tinitrain or minamature niya yung mga T cells for our immune defense. Again, si spleen act like a filters of the blood, while si thymus naman is maturing T cells.
My name is Natalie Infante and i-discuss ko ngayon ang immunity. Immunity protects our body from diseases. Tinutulungan tayong labanan ang infections from internal and external environment using white blood cells which is released by our bone marrow. Meron two types ang immunity. Una is yung innate immunity. First line of defense, quick but generally. Kaya siya naging first line of defense dahil siya ang unang defense na nagpoprotekta sa mga infections or diseases gamit ang ating barriers tulad ng skin. Alam naman natin na ang skin ay nagpoproduce ng sweats and also dito rin makikita ang mucus na nasesecrete ng ating katawan. Lahat ng lumalabas sa ating katawan ay siyang nagpoprotekta at pumipigil sa pagpasok ng germs or pathogens. Tandaan din na ito ay isang innate or meron na ang isang tao simula nung pinanganak siya. In addition, pag sinabi namang generally, hindi niya kayang mag-determine ng specific type ng pathogens, hindi siya katulad ng adaptive immunity. So, let's move on to the next type which is yung adaptive immunity. Ito naman ay yung second line of defense at specific. Dito naman, pinoprotektahan tayo sa future diseases na maaari nating makuha o ma-develop. From the word itself, pag sinabing adaptive, nakaka-adapt siya sa sakit na maaari nating makuha at siya ang nagpoprotekta gamit ang specific type ng pathogen. Kapag naman sinabing specific, alam ng body natin kung anong uri ng pathogens ang kakalabanin niya. For example is yung vaccine. It is a type of weakened germs na nagka-create ng antibodies para maturuan yung immune system natin na kalabanin yung specific pathogen sa katawan natin at para ma-prevent niya yung pag-develop ng diseases or infections.
Good day everyone, I'm Aliana Alexia M. Susana, and today I will be discussing white blood cells and the inflammatory response. These two important parts of our body's defense mechanism against infection and disease. White blood cells move towards chemicals released from pathogens or damaged tissues. White blood cells are part of our immune system. Their main job is to protect our body from pathogens or harmful microorganisms like bacteria, viruses, and fungi. They have a special ability called chemotaxis. Chemotaxis is the movement of white blood cells toward chemicals released by pathogens or damaged cells. For example, when you get a wound, damaged cells release chemicals that attract white blood cells to the area to start healing. Now we have phagocytic cells. These are cells that eat or engulf pathogens. The word phago means to eat and cyte means cell. There are two types of phagocytic cells. First is neutrophils. They are the first responders when there's an infection. They attack quickly, but they also die quickly after doing their job. For example, when you have a small wound, neutrophils are the first to arrive to fight the bacteria. Second is the macrophage, large monocytes that leave blood and enter tissues, responsible for most of phagocytic activity in late stages of infection. Macro means large, and phage means eater, so they are big eaters. They come in later stage of infection and clean up the dead cells and bacteria. Examples of macrophages: first is Kupffer cells, which is found in the liver, dust cells, found in the lungs, and microglia, which is found in central nervous system. Now let's proceed to cells of inflammation. Produce inflammatory response to fight against pathogens. These are white blood cells that help trigger and control inflammation. First is the basophils. motile white blood cells, meaning they can move around the bloodstream and enter infected tissues. They release histamine, a chemical that causes swelling, redness, and itching. Second is the mast cells, located at points where pathogens may enter the body such as skin, lungs, gastrointestinal tract, and urogenital tract. They also release histamine to help the body react to infection or injury. For example, when you get a bug bite, mast cells release histamine causing the red and itchy bump. Third is the eosinophils. These cells help during allergic reactions and asthma. They also fight parasitic infections like worms. So a person with allergies may have higher eosinophil levels. Now we have natural killer or NK cells, a lymphocyte that recognizes a class of cells such as tumor cells or virus-infected cells. Kill target cells by releasing chemicals that damage cells membrane and cause cell lysis. NK cells can destroy cells infected by virus like HIV or cancer cells. They destroy these cells by releasing chemicals that break their membrane, causing cell lysis. So cell lysis means the cell bursts or disintegrates. The inflammatory response is a protective process that helps the body remove harmful agents and start healing. When inflammation happens, the body releases chemical mediators. These are substances that signal the immune system to respond. So here's what they do. First is the vasodilation. This is when the blood vessels widen to increase blood flow. This brings more white blood cells to the infected area. For example, the redness and warmth you see in a wound. Phagocytes leave the blood and enter the tissue to destroy pathogens. Second is the increased vascular permeability. The walls of blood vessels become leaky, allowing important proteins like fibrinogen and complement to enter tissue. What is fibrinogen? It helps form clots to seal the wound. Second is complement, a group of proteins that help destroy bacteria. There are two types of inflammation. First is local inflammation. This happens only at the site of injury or infection. It produces the classic signs of inflammation. First is rubor or redness. Second, calor or heat. Third, tumor or swelling. Fourth, dolor or pain. And fifth is functionalisa, which is loss of function. Second is the systemic inflammation. This affects the whole body, not just one part. The common symptoms are fever, body temperature rises to kill or slow down pathogens. Second, malaise, general feeling of being unwell or tired. Fatigue, extreme tiredness due to the body fighting infection. Loss of appetite, you don't feel like eating because the body focuses on healing. Increased white blood cell count. The body produces more white blood cells to fight infection. Acute phase proteins. Proteins made by the liver to help control inflammation. If inflammation becomes too severe, it may lead to sepsis, a dangerous body-wide infection. Second is septic shock, when blood pressure drops too low due to severe infection. This can be life-threatening. For examples, severe bacterial infection like pneumonia or meningitis. Autoimmune disease such as rheumatoid arthritis.
Hi, I'm Debian Shunico Elgonda and I will be discussing adaptive immunity or specific immunity. So, what is adaptive immunity? Adaptive immunity is our body's smart defense system, and it happens when the body recognizes and destroys a pathogen, but the response improves each time the pathogen is encountered due to two certain characteristics, which are specificity and memory. The specificity happens when the immune system makes a special weapon for only one germ. Now the memory happens when that weapon remembers the germ, so it's ready for the future. Now let's go to antigen. Antigens are substances that stimulate adaptive immune responses. Exposure to antigens increases the effectiveness of successive exposure. It is divided into two groups. The foreign antigen are antigens that don't belong, so they are from either a sickness, virus, or bacteria. These are the ones that the immune system must fight. While the self-antigens are parts of your own body cells. Your immune system is trained to leave these antigens alone. Now let's go to lymphocytes. Lymphocytes are responsible for the responses of adaptive immunity. They are the ones in charge of remembering and making the specific attacks. So, lymphocytes come in two main types, which are the pre-T cells. Now, pre-T cells travel to a small organ called the thymus to finish growing. T cells are like the foot of soldiers who directly kill cells that are infected, while pre-B cells grow up in the red bone marrow, which is inside our bones. Now they are like the weapon factories. They make special proteins called antibodies to capture and stop the germs.
Good day everyone, I am Joan ZNA Adyanal, and in this slide, I will be discussing two crucial events in adaptive immunity called antigen recognition and lymphocyte proliferation. These processes enable our immune system to identify and eliminate pathogens effectively. Let's begin with antigen recognition. It is the process by which T cells and B cells identify and bind to specific foreign substances called antigens. This recognition is essential for initiating an adaptive immune response. The unique shape of antigens allows immune cells to recognize them and trigger a response. For the next event, it is called lymphocyte proliferation. After recognizing the antigen, lymphocytes undergo cell division to produce numerous identical cells. This process is called lymphocyte proliferations. It ensures that the body generates enough different cells to effectively eliminate the pathogen. It's a critical step in amplifying the immune response. So in conclusion, antigen recognition identifies the threat, while lymphocyte proliferation amplifies the immune response to protect the body. These two events work together to enable our immune system to respond effectively to pathogens and maintain our overall health.
Good day everyone, I'm Bay Nicole Vicedo. So for today, I'll be discussing an important aspect sa immune system natin, which is called the adaptive immune system, specifically focusing on the antibody-mediated immunity, which plays a crucial role in protecting our body from harmful invaders. So first, ano nga ba ang antibody-mediated immunity? So it is also called as the humoral immunity, which is the part of our adaptive immune system that uses B lymphocytes or B cells and antibodies to fight off infections. So while other parts of the immune system, ina-attack nila yung cells, instead, na mag-focus sila sa detecting and neutralizing pathogens like bacteria and viruses in body fluids before they can cause dangerous damage. So, antibodies are special proteins produced by plasma cells which are activate B cells These antibodies are highly specific, meaning each type is designed to recognize a particular antigen or the molecule on the surface of a pathogen that triggers an immune system. So each antibody has two key regions, which are the variable region and the constant region. So yung variable region is na-found siya sa tips ng antibody or ito yung tinutukoy nating business end. Ito yung nagbabind sa specific antigen. Also, para siyang i-connect mo siya sa lock na nag-fit sa isang key. Also, yung antibody na to is precisely to target harmful invaders. So, second is yung constant region. Ito naman yung tail or yung buntot ng antibody na responsible para ma-activate yung other parts of the immune system or to complement proteins or other immune cells. So, next is the effects of antibodies on antigens. So, once na nag-bind na yung antibody sa antigens, nagpa-perform na sila ng multiple functions such as inactivation of antigens, agglutination, activations of complement cascades, inflammatory response, and facilitating of phagocytosis. So, first, sa inactivation of antigens, yung antibodies, inanoneutralize niya yung harmful toxins or binablock niya yung mga viruses para hindi makapag-enter yung cells. Second, sa agglutination naman is nagbabind siya ng several antigens para makapag-form ng cluster. So, therefore, magiging easier yung immune systems para makapag-detect and remove ng mga harmful substances. So, third, sa activation of complement and cascades, ito yung nagtitrigger sa chain reaction na nag-help mag-destroy ng pathogens. Fourth, inflammatory response, yung antibodies nagsisignal yung immune cells niya para mag-release ng chemicals na nagkakos ng inflammation. So, lastly is sa facilitating phagocytosis, minimake sure niya na magiging easier yung pag-enter ng phagocytes like macrophages to eat up and remove pathogen. So, fourth is the antibody production. So, paano nga ba nagpa-produce ang antibody? So, meron siyang two main types kung paano nag-response ang antibody. First is the primary response. Second is the secondary response or memory response. So, yung primary response, nag-o-occur siya sa body natin pag nag-encounter ng new antigen sa first time. So, yung B cells is slowly niya nare-recognize yung mga antigen and minumultiply niya to form plasma cells and produce antibodies. So, ito is nagpa-process siya to several days or weeks. While sa secondary response or memory response naman, same lang siya na nag-enter yung antigen sa body and then yung memory B is quickly nare-recognize siya to form plasma cells. So, yung results nito is faster and stronger and more effective antibody production. So, lastly, yung antibody-mediated immunity, para siyang vital defense mechanism na nagpo-protect sa atin sa mga harmful pathogens. So, through coordinated actions of B cells, plasma cells, and antibodies, yung body natin is nakaka-detect ng antigens and nanoneutralize natin sila. And even, nagiging faster yung response nito. So, understanding this system helps us appreciate how our body fights infections and paano nakakatulong yung vaccines to train our immune system to respond more efficiently. Thank you for listening, and this is all about antibody-mediated immune system.
I am Fitzpatricia Cesar, and I'll be discussing the cell-mediated immunity. So, yung cell-mediated immunity is part siya ng immune system natin na nag-i-involve ng action of T cells. So, there are three types of T cells. First is the cytotoxic T cells. So, yung cytotoxic T cells, siya yung killer. Killer, ibig sabihin, siya yung pumapatay ng mga infection or cancerous cells, I mean, infected cells. And then, yung helper T cells naman, from the word helper, siya yung tumutulong para mag-activate yung ibang immune cells. And then, last is the memory T cells. The memory T cells naman, siya yung parang nagtatanda ng mga infection para kapag na-encounter nila ulit yung same virus or disease, maaalala nila na ganito lang pala yun na parang it's the same as the infection na na-encounter nila. Next is ways to acquire. So, first is mag-administer ng cytokines to promote inflammation, and nakakatulong din siya para i-activate yung immune cells natin. And then, the second one is vaccination. So, yung vaccination is common na sa atin kasi na-experience na natin siya, na-experience na tayo magpa-vaccine. And yung ginagawa ng vaccination is nakakatulong siya para mas lalo tayong protected or lumakas yung immune system natin. Next is the monoclonal antibodies. So, yung monoclonal antibodies, siya yung artificial or specially designed antibodies na gawa sa laboratory. Ginagamit siya para mag-deliver ng gamot or enzymes sa tumor cells natin. And then, siya din yung madalas ginagamit panggamot sa cancer. So, yung immunotherapy naman is treatment siya na tumutulong sa immune system natin na para labanan yung sakit, lalo na sa cancer.
I'm Trishuli H. Villanes, and let's move on to disease and disorder of the lymphatic system. First is multiple sclerosis, autoimmune disease, meaning the body immune system is weakly attacking cells. The immune system targets the protective covering of nerve in the brain and spinal cord. Second is systematic lupus erythematosus, another autoimmune disease where the immune system attacks the body's own tissue and organs. It can affect many parts of the body, such as skin, joints, kidney, heart, and more. Next is the effects of aging on the lymphatic system and immunity. Get older, the immune system becomes less effective. Why? First, decreased T cells. T cells that help fight infection. Second is reduce antibodies. Antibodies help recognize and destroy germs. Next is weak immune response. The body responds more slowly to infection or injuries. Healing takes longer and vaccine may not work as well. Lastly is increased infection risk because of the weak immune system. Older adults are more prone to disease and infection.
And that's all for our report about the lymphatic system. It keeps our body balanced, healthy, and protected. Thank you for listening.